Kate Petty, and I'm the Education Trainer here at LG. LG CreateBoards have the ability for multiple devices to cast content to and from the board. Today, we're going to be taking a look at the different options on how to do this. So let's take a look first at the Share menu in the app on the CreateBoard. Users can access the Share app by tapping this black icon at the top, or if this black icon is missing, users can go over to the side menu, hit Settings, and then scroll down all the way to Share and enable it that way. So once the app launches, you'll see a blue window with the share code in the middle. At the bottom, you'll see three options: Menu, Devices, and Webcast. Make sure you tap Webcast and toggle it on to use Share's features. Next to that is Devices. This will show you all the devices that are connected to the board and give you control over if you're going to allow them to touch, if applicable, if you are going to give them admin rights in order to control who comes to the board and who is disconnected from the board, or disconnect a device completely from the board straight away. If I go back out of there and then hit the menu down at the bottom and go to Settings, we'll take a look at some of the options in Settings. First, ask your organization what kinds of permissions and screen sharing types of information or devices that you're going to need to enable in order to be able to share. Now, if you don't know what they are, or if they don't know what they are, just play around a little bit until you find a successful combination. There's let's see, 5 to choose from. It's not too much. It won't take too much time. Next, if you scroll down just a little bit, you'll get some general settings. The first thing there is device name. If you are in an organization that has more than one CreateBoard, you may want to change this name to something that's a little more identifiable. For instance, maybe a room number and or maybe your name. That way, if somebody else goes to and wants to cast to or from the board, they'll know exactly which device they'll be casting to and from the list that are optioned to them. Down below, you'll find the code refresh rate. Currently, I have my code set to refresh every 10 minutes. However, you can change this to refresh to 20, 30, 60, or if you just want the same code and you never want it to refresh, just tap never. Next up, we have the floating window size. Currently, I have it at normal size, which means it is a black box with the code showing and visible, really easy to access if I wanted to cast to and from. Now, if I don't necessarily want that code there, but I still want that easy access black box, I can just tap this to mini size and it actually takes away the code that keeps the box. If I don't want that box there at all, I can tap close, and then I'll just be able to access that menu from the side menu, applications, and then if I scroll down to share, I can tap share and access it that way. Finally, maximum screens. While a whole bunch of devices can actually join the CreateBoard through the share feature, only a maximum of 9 screens can be visible at one time. And you can change the overall settings here if you never want more than one screen, or up to just being able to have the 9 screens total. Now, if you tap 9 screens, it doesn't mean that there have to be 9 showing. So if you have 9 screens enabled here, but you only want 1 or 2 screens to show up, that's possible. You're just giving the maximum allowed that you want to be able to give. So now let's take a look at the LG CreateBoard website and how to access Share in the first place. There are 2 ways to access the Share features of the CreateBoard: through an installed app or through the browser. In either case, the CreateBoard and the devices must be on the same Wi-Fi network. Here we are on share.lgcreateboard.com, and you'll see there's a spot to enter a code directly here on the left. And on the right, we have the app downloads or the local installers for any type of device that you think you might want to have access. For instance, if you're on a PC, a Mac, a Chromebook, or if you're on a phone or tablet that is running Android or iOS. When a user downloads the app, opens it, and enters the code in the app, the user will have the choice to cast the receiver or mirror to it, or have the choice to mirror the CreateBoard onto the user's device. In both cases, touch control is possible. This means if I'm casting my computer to the CreateBoard, I can control my computer by touching the CreateBoard. Conversely, if I'm casting the CreateBoard to my device, I can control what's happening on the CreateBoard on my device. Now let's talk about what happens when I enter the code in the website on the browser without using the app. I can also choose to cast or receive content to or from the CreateBoard, but I can't control the board from my device or vice versa. In either case, there is a setting in the menu that allows for when a device is requesting access to give it access immediately, or make sure that you tap allow on the CreateBoard in order for that device to be able to be allowed to be connected and viewed on the CreateBoard itself. So let's talk a little bit about best practices on why you might want to use the app versus the browser version. I see teachers wanting the app a little bit more. It seems like teachers are the ones that are going to be able to want to touch, especially if they're casting their own computers to the board itself and being up at the board and being able to control and manipulate their own computer device using the board itself. Now, I don't see students needing that kind of a touch feature. Maybe in some cases they do, or in some classes they do, but not generally. So I see students actually using this feature more, where they'll just go to share.lgcreateboard.com, put the code in, and access or view the board or have their computers be viewed without any touch features. So in a nutshell, if you want touch features and to be able to enable touch options, you're going to want to make sure you're using the app. If you don't need to be able to use those touch features and you just are going to be viewing the board or viewing the contents, you'll put in the code right here. So that is it for the LG CreateBoard Share tutorial. Please make sure you're following us for some more videos and how-tos coming up soon.